So the story is I needed a new chair for outside my workshop for me to sit on. I milled this board, God, ages ago, with a chainsaw mill, and it was just the right length. And here we go. The joys of sawing a board like this. It can be unpredictable. No matter how many times you do it, you still can get it wrong sometimes, as you'll see. But if you're standing right, sort of square to the saw, you can absorb a lot of that kickback and it won't come flying back at you. But keep your hands away, eh? Using the track saw in the end didn't prove to be too fruitful, so I went over to the miter saw and did this, which was much better and much more accurate. Even though that board's not square and sitting on the fence, if you swing your arm around and accommodate for that and line it up, you can still cut a nice straight miter. I know some people get a bit funny about seeing a domino being used. Quite honestly, I can't think of a stronger way to reinforce that miter joint, hold my weight especially. If you've got it, use it, man. Who cares? Just thought I'd give you a show and tell of how I glued up that angled back to the seat. Those wedges I actually found on the floor from a clamping device I showed on Instagram a while ago. The clamps pretty much get it there. They're close to the angle I needed enough, and also that ratchet strap just balances it out to keep the miter closed both sides. If you're going to use PU glue, gotta wear gloves. And I like PU glue because one, it's waterproof, and I've got a longer open time mainly. And especially with a joint like this, there is some fucking about to get it perfect every time. Most PVA glues at 15-20 degrees I'm finding going off in 10-15 minutes, and are very difficult to manipulate into the correct position. Make sure you use a little bit of water. If you overspray too much water, tip it out, make sure everything's just damp. And I don't agree with people calling water the activator. I actually believe it. So the glue penetrates a bit more deeper into the wood, and I feel is more stronger, but I'm sure those in the comments would shout out and tell me I'm wrong if they feel like it. I also can't help but feel that the water, especially on the miter joint, gives you a bit more open time, because I feel it slows down the glue seeping into the wood, as it were. It kind of sounds like I'm contradicting myself here, but if you put PVA on to end grain, you watch that soak in, you probably wouldn't even have enough time to position this joint before it's soaked in and absolutely has no benefit whatsoever, which is another reason why I like PU. It is expensive, I know, and a little does go a long way. It's messy, and I do find it actually quite easy to clean up. Just need a sharp chisel. Don't wait for it to go rock hard though. Wait for it to go sort of like a soft honeycomb type feeling, and then use your sharp chisel on it, and it'll be absolutely fine. Now for the fun part. Now, don't get me wrong, this is fun, but please wear a mask. I wear glasses, some of they steam up, so I can't wear goggles on top of them. That's not the fun side of it, but shaping it is good fun. This whole exercise probably took 2 days, and I don't mean just with an angle grinder, I mean hand rasps, sanding, etc., to get it to a nice shape, nice smooth shape. Although the video looks like it probably took 20 minutes. It was anything but a quick job. If you fancy giving this a go, you'll probably notice I don't have the guard on that. For good reason. It makes it really bloody awkward to get and carve your shape with that guard in the way, and you have to keep stopping, moving it out of the way with the Allen key. It's a real pain in the backside. Yeah, I'm sure you think, well, yeah, so is it losing fingers. But to be honest with you, that disc isn't going to take your finger off. It is, however, if you're going to be stupid about it. Now, my left hand stays static on that handle. Now that's the part where it could bite you. Now don't mess around with that. Keep that steady and use your right hand to change position. And you shouldn't get your hands anywhere near that. It's much easier to glue it up in stages than try and glue that whole thing up in one hit. And I was definitely going to be leaving it for 24 hours before I put any stress on those joints. Make sure everything's absolutely 100% cured. Because as you can see from the finished piece, it looks kind of sketchy, like it's either going to hold a person's weight. Because technically that is mitre joints. Reinforced ones at that, but they hold me. Here's a little tip I learned from automotive bodywork type stuff. I like working in my car and I like to do everything myself. And this is technically called a guide coat. And when you start rubbing this back, as you see, it'll start showing you the low spots and the high spots. The high spots are where there's no more paint. The low spots are obviously where you need to work down to and get it all nice and smooth. So when you run your fingers along it, it just feels butter smooth, not like it's dented from a hammer, as it were. Well, I really gave all of these joints a lot of thought, and I still screwed up. As you can see, there's 2 tenons coming through there, and a third one I didn't actually fill. I should have filled it with a tenon, and then did what I just did here. Now there's no meat for that drill to go into. Look at it. Boy, was I pissed off. I spent hours and hours agonising about how to fix this. I didn't really want to go this route either, because the shape of the chair and how it's sculpted, they're not going to look evenly spaced out either, filling them with dowels. I couldn't drill too far into it because it could weaken the chair. In the end, I just had to bite the bullet and go with it. You'll see here 3 holes. Well, in the end, there was a 4th one added because it just didn't look balanced enough looking at it. Looked kind of odd, kind of freaky. Although I'm a big advocate for doing things in odd numbers because it just visually looks better. In this case, it just really didn't. And you'll see in the final piece that there's actually 4. There was no way I could cut the other 3 with this flush trim saw at all without really gouging into the curved nature of it all. So I just had to bring out the 40 grit RO, just blitz it down. This kind of thing for me is a proper deal breaker. It's the difference between me feeling happy about a project and the difference between being quite depressed about it. And that's a train wreck. It looks to me like some idiot has cut with a hole saw in the front of their bumper to get more air towards the radiator. It looks shit. I can imagine there's a few people out there thinking there's no way that's going to hold this guy. Well, I'm about 210 pounds, 15 stone in English terms. I don't think they even flexed. Oh, maybe a little bit, but it works, eh?